Morning. Got a crawfish boil next Friday. Wing shop, lunchtime. Same drill. So, thanks, Miss Anita. Miss Anita pouring today's sis for you guys. We'll have another good day like we did the other Friday. Get a little time to just sit in there and relax and eat some crawfish. A couple little local items. There was a fatality at Allison Marine yesterday. And I think it was the day before there was a fatality at Frank's Casing on Highway 90 in Lafayette. Don't really have any details on Allison, but at Frank's Casing, crane lift, moving some casing, sounds like they smashed a guy. The crane operator didn't know he was there. A lot of it's on the crane operator, but a lot of it's on you. You know, you need to make sure that the crane operator knows where you are. You need to be where you need to be, and you certainly don't ever need to be where you don't need to be. Put on the sign-in sheet this morning, be consistent, not complacent. We say complacency a lot. If you look up complacency in the dictionary, it says smug. You know what smug means? A little holier than thou, man. I know what I'm doing. Leave me alone. We want safety to be consistent because safety always wants you to do it the right way. And through that consistency, you'll get it done and we won't have any adverse effects to the organization. Got a couple little stories this morning about some jobs that were, for the most part, planned out well and understood and wound up with less than desirable results. The first one starts out in West Africa. Had a one-pile jacket, a brand new jacket set in place for a new well. Everything was in place, and the only thing that didn't happen from the beach on the jacket was you go down from the top deck to the cellar deck, and then you can go from the cellar deck down to a boat landing. They got hatches. They got these vertical ladders. They didn't put a hatch. We needed a hatch. We had an open hole. Somebody's gonna get hurt if we don't cover the open hole. Big priority. Sent 2 guys over there to measure the hatch. This is your job, fellas. Go over there and take some good measurements, and we're gonna have that hatch made. With any luck, we have it made on the beach today. We have it flown out today. They went over there, and one of the gentlemen walked through the home. This is a lot of years ago, fellas. He never worked another day in his life. It didn't kill him. It split his head open so badly he had to be sewn up in Nigeria. And if anybody's ever been to Nigeria, that's not where you want medical attention. He was sewn up in Nigeria and flown to London. When they got him into London, they took the sutures out of his head and they had sewn up a fly in his head. Fly. So, pretty tragic event. We're going to fix something, we're going to make something right. And that's where we wound up. Complacency. Second story. It's an Exxon job. What they were doing needed to have a whole sheet of grading moved out of the way. They called some contractors out to do it. They had a special tool to bust the nuts off that were holding the grading down. They had a new piece of grading in place. They were going to go ahead and replace the old piece. They had everything they needed to do this job correctly. They had a JSA, 2 guys knew exactly what they needed to do. They busted all the nuts off, both ends, the whole sheet of grading. They had grading hooks to move the grading around so they didn't mess up their fingers. Exxon, anybody who's ever worked for Exxon wants it done correctly. They busted all the slugs off, or all the studs, whatever you want to call them. Employee number 1 goes to put the machine that busted the nuts up out of the way. Employee number 2 is going to start moving the grading a little bit, make sure it's loose. Pulled it off the other edge and he rode down into the Gulf of Mexico with those hooks. Couldn't let go. Somehow or another, when he hit the water, it hit him in the chest and it knocked him loose. And they had a boat right there. A diver just come out of the water. They saw him come down, and there's a lot of things to hit, fellas. Got all those conductors coming up. He was knocked out when he hit the water. Diver jumped in the water. He was still somewhat hooked on to the grating somehow. And somehow or another, the diver got in there and at about 15 foot started working with him and got him loose. Knew what he was doing. They had their plan in place. They had their JSA. I don't think at any point it spoke of, let me try and do this process that two people should be doing because the grating should have gone to the side by myself. So if the other guy would have had his hooks and he had his hooks, it would have been a simple task. He wandered off the beaten path. Third one, guy went out with a specific tool. Anybody that's ever been offshore, been around handrails on the boat, loose handrails can scare you. It moves on you and it's scary. There was a platform, this was Chevron. They made a specific tool for a guy to go out there and check the handrails. It's long enough, we feel like this is the right amount of torque, and if it doesn't move enough, we're going to call it good. He was going around the platform, the whole parameter of the platform. He got on a piece of handrail good, and what happened? He went over the side. Him and the tool and the handrail. He had rowed a boat to the platform. Where was the boat? Almost directly below it. The guys on the back of the boat say he missed the boat by about 5 feet. Knocked him out. Somebody was able to get him out of the water. We got to plan what we're doing. We got to follow that plan in every instance, because the plan is how to do it without having any adverse effects to it. So we understand that we have the plan may change, and when it changes, we got to make sure everybody understands the change. But I think a lot of times what gets us is I'm going to go ahead and get this done. I'm going to go ahead and see if this is right. I'm going to try and move a little bit forward on my own. That's when we wander off the beaten path. I don't know for sure if it's complacency, but I think sometimes we're just in motion and we're not really thinking about what we're doing. It's just a routine to us. That's dangerous. We do it every day. How many people have directions on how to get over here? Just get here, don't you? You don't have to, oh, I'm going to Versabar this morning. Let me see. I got to go down Wall Boulevard and take a left on the Balco. We just do it. In some ways, it's good for us to have some things ingrained in us so well that we don't have to put a whole lot of thought into it. It's never good to be working out here on this yard that way, because death is around the corner, fellas. Somebody's not going to make it home on some days because something didn't go down the way it was supposed to. Keep that in mind. And when it looks like the guy that's working with you loses focus, make sure that he gets back in the game. If the guy that's working with you looks like he can't focus, he needs to come out of the game and sit on the bench for a little while. But what we do out there on a daily basis, you don't train to lose, you train to win. We train each other out there on a daily basis. So make sure we all understand what it is we're doing out there. We're doing good. We're always going to be able to come in here and talk about some tragic stories. We just don't want to talk about any tragic stories that are happening right here. And if we continue to do our business the way we've been doing it, that's never going to come see us. And we'll all be better off for that. What y'all got, fellas?
A lot of different contractors out there. So you see them do something like watch where they at. If they came into their job there, they might not get that balloon, so kind of guide them out the way, point in the right direction. One little might be swung to the left, one little might be swung to the right. Don't take the bearing. You get one little to the right, the next one goes to the left. It's kind of real weird to people around.
What Scooter's saying, and for anybody that was across the levee yesterday by the coral, it's got a lot of contractors over here who are focused on what they're doing and not necessarily focused on what we're doing. We got to let them know what we're doing. I think this morning we're going to start the muster board over again from scratch. We weren't supposed to have any more than 50 people, and I think we got up to around 60 yesterday. I think some people came and looked at the boat yesterday that won't be back. I think we can get a better grip on it this morning. Take a number, we'll assign you a number, put that number in your pocket, hang it on your belt if it's got a hook. When you're up on the boat, you're gonna have that number. That's how we know you belong up there. When you come back down, hang your number back up. Pretty easy process. Just have to kind of get in the mode to remember that. But make sure you get the engagement right, because we need to have a grip on who's on the boat and who's not. The work's going well. Got a short time frame. We can get it done. We can get it done without hurting anyone. Who else?
Man, I want to bring up also on the vessels out there, they have an excessive amount of tripping hazards out there. Be aware. A lot of boats sticking up to, you name it, little tabs. So use extreme caution. I also want to bring up the JSAs. Starting a project, I don't care who it is, all the way to the top. Everybody should know at this point, you're not supposed to start until you have the stuff in place. So it's still happening at this time, but I want everybody to be aware. As of today, if you're not doing the right thing, you will be written up. So there's no excuse. So if you're letting somebody ahead of you that's over you, letting you do something that's not right, I don't know what to tell you, but everybody knows they have the right to shut it down and do the right thing. Because you know, if an incident does take place, the first thing they're looking for is a JSA. I experienced that many a time on projects. You have an incident, they'll come straight for you, looking to make sure that you're investigating everything before you start. And that's what it's all about. Believe me, it'll prevent an incident. It's a very handy tool. And also when we're swinging all of this stuff up here, make sure you look around. Make sure there's no loose items. You know, they could have rocks, they could have little clips or something on top or in between the beams. Can have loose grading on it, anything. So just be aware, because I see a lot of people real close when we're swinging the loads out there. So try to look at this before we start the process.
We'll give you a specific example. Don't follow a bad example, fellas. And it's easy to do, but I'm gonna give you a specific one. We made a lift on top of the boat night before last, and I talked to both of these people, and I'm gonna call the name. Bill Thrift, Bill Wilkerson. All right, they were just up there observing, but we had no JSA and we're making a crane lift. Those guys are ready for us to tell them we can't do this until we have a JSA, I believe. But if you tell them we can't do this until we have a JSA and their reaction is not, okay, let's stop and do one, come and get me. Come and get me. That's not how we operate, fellas. And I had a conversation with both of them, and sometimes the pace just gets a little bit too fast. But if somebody doesn't slow it down, man, we're gonna hit that brick wall. So, do it, fellas. Nothing's gonna happen to you. We forget. They had Cap Rock over here. They had their eye on a prize. They just forgot about some policies and procedures over here. So remind them, and we'll do it the right way. And then we're covering our ass, aren't we? And that's what it's all about. Going home the way you came here and covering your ass. Phil handed out the hurricane cards. Hurricane season's coming, so we'll start wandering through that where you guys understand what's going on. And we handle it, I think, fairly well over here, but I'm hoping we don't have to handle anything. Hurricane season will come and go and just be unadjusted.
Hey, Brad, go just in case Chad's number is wrong on those cards.
Chad's number at night is wrong on the card. We didn't figure that would affect too many people. He got a new phone, but just be aware. We took the cards that were going to the night guys and we stickered across it with his correct number. So, what you got, Cooper?
Don't worry about deadline. I was offshore Monday. They had a big meeting. They had 5 people hurt on that rig in 2 weeks' time. They questioned everybody in the room. Everybody knew they had like a May 8 deadline for completion. We got deadlines. Let the supervisors worry about that. We can't worry about that. We can just do what we can every day. You know, we get to rushing ourselves because we know this has to be done. That's when people get hurt. So let the higher ups worry about deadlines. If we make it, we make it. If we don't, we don't. We'll do whatever we can. Also, this was Monday now. Wednesday, You're talking about somebody got killed with Frank's casing. Well, on that same rig, Frank's casing dropped a piece down the hole. A stabbing guard down the hole. And it was going to cost them thousands, if not how much money, to try to locate that piece in the hole and dig it out, you know. And it was like the end of the world for them. But that ain't shit compared to somebody getting killed for that company that same day, you know, on land. You know, sometimes the equipment might get damaged. And yeah, we should try not to do that. But if somebody ever gets killed with this company, I don't know how I'm gonna handle it, much less all of y'all, you know. Keep that in mind. Who that?
All right, fellas. Have a good day.